Okay, yesterday we made one decision, one objective, one sentence. That's all Monday asked of us. Today we are going to protect it because an intention sitting in your notebook and an intention living on your calendar are two very different things. One is an idea, the other has a reservation. Have you ever cleaned your house because somebody was coming over? I mean, be honest, somebody is coming over last minute. Suddenly you're vacuuming in places that haven't seen daylight since the Obama administration. I mean, the funny part isn't that you cleaned, it's that you knew how to clean. It's just the timing that changed. The date changed your behavior. That's planning. The calendar stopped being a piece of paper. It became a commitment. So one of the biggest misconceptions I see is people treating calendars like storage units. I'll just put everything on there. It's not a calendar. That's a hostage situation. A calendar is a design document. It tells your future self where today's intention is supposed to live. It is supposed to be a nicety or a kindness that your past self does for your future self so that your present self can just ride the wave and go with the flow. I love when people say, I want to go with the flow. It does not mean don't plan in my brain. So one of my favorite ideas that project management offers is the idea of protecting the critical path. Every project has hundreds of tasks. Only a handful determine whether the whole project succeeds. There's the 5. That's why I say gamify it. Good project managers learn to protect those first. Those are the result-producing actions. Life works the same way. You probably have 20 things you could do tomorrow, of course. Maybe 3 of them actually move your intention forward. 3 of them are the result-producing actions. Those 3 deserve your best hour, not whatever energy happens to be left over. Oh God, I have nothing left. James Clear, he talks about making good behaviors obvious. I love that. Project managers would probably call it reducing friction. Directors call it setting the stage. Different professions, same idea. Make the next action easier to begin. Create a system. Think about rehearsal. Actors don't show up and ask, what are we working on today? They already know. They should know the rehearsal schedule exists. Scene 4, fight choreography, music rehearsal, costume fitting. The decision has already been made for them. That's one less decision draining their attention. Now everyone can spend their energy doing the work instead of deciding whether to begin or where do we begin? Who's in charge? It's already up there. It's on the call board. The fact that you go to the call board every day to look to find it, that's another system. The decision has already been made for you. So here's a question. When does your intention actually happen? When does your intention actually happen? Not when would you like it to happen? I'd love it to happen like Tuesday. When has it been invited onto the calendar? You don't have to do anything. You offer time to things. You make a decision and 20 non-decisions are made. You made a decision to not choose those other things. You're offering your time to this. So when has it been invited onto your calendar? If your objective is to write, where? If it's to train, when? If it's to repair a relationship, what evening? If it's to build your business, what block of time belongs to it before the world starts negotiating with you? Because that is planning. So here's today's lesson. If it matters enough to shape your future, it deserves an address. Not someday. An address, a place, a time, a reservation, because your calendar isn't just organizing time, it's protecting intention from interruption. Today's rehearsal is wonderfully simple. Open your calendar. Find one uninterrupted hour this week, just one. Now give your intention a home. Name the block after the objective, not the task. Instead of podcast, write build trust. Start there. Instead of workout, write build capacity. Build my capacity. Instead of sales calls, write create opportunities. Create opportunity. The task becomes connected to the objective. Something like subtle changes. The rehearsal now has meaning. So tomorrow, it's like the SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable. The rehearsal now has meaning. Tomorrow we stop planning. We build. Tomorrow's build. That's a completely different rehearsal, though. So, if we go into rehearsal today, one of the first things that surprises people when they watch professional actors rehearse is how little acting actually happens. Like, you got the tape on the floor. There, people are all walking around. They're stopping. They're turning. They're trying entrances. They're trying exits. Somebody asks, should I cross here or over here? The stage manager writes it down. The director watches. Everybody repeats it. They're getting into their characters, but they're trying to feel where it wants to go, and they do it again and they do it again and repeat until nobody has to think about it anymore. That's called blocking. Their body starts attaching the words that they want to the movement, and then they start embodying the line differently. That's why blocking is so useful. It's not as useful if the director just gives you all the blocking. It's useful if the director lets the actors have intention and see what their intention and where their intention takes them. And then they sculpt that natural inclination or that impulse, following that impulse. Otherwise, it looks like choreography when you just see actors like, I'm supposed to cross down here, but I don't know what. Like, it's like their body starts going, no, I don't want to. You can see that in life too, of course. So actors aren't wandering around the stage hoping they end up somewhere useful, though. They're building repeatable movement. The idea changed how I looked at calendars forever. So, okay, let's play. Imagine your week as a stage. Monday morning, the curtain just went up. Where do you enter? Where do you leave? Where do you exit? Where does the important conversation happen? Monday morning, this is your calendar. Where does deep work happen? Where does recovery happen? Where does dinner happen? You're blocking your week. You're not scheduling, you're blocking. Those are different jobs. So here's something that makes me laugh. Not laugh, haha, but we've all done this. You look at the calendar and you think, perfect. I'll write 3 chapters, answer 40 emails, reorganize the garage, call my mother, of course, start a business, learn Italian, drink water, somehow become a better person before dinner. Tuesday arrives. You've answered 2 emails and you've eaten half a bag of pretzels standing over the sink. Okay, we've been there. The problem was not ambition, though. The blocking was impossible. It was impossible. There was no way for you to go to that, to that, to that. It was impossible. One of John Jory, great acting director, his greatest directing lessons is simplicity. Don't give the actors 12 things to do, give them 1. Let the rest organize itself. I think calendars deserve the same respect. 1 major build, 1 major rehearsal. Everything else supports it. So here's today's rehearsal. Take tomorrow, not the month, not the year, tomorrow. Circle 1 block of time. That's rehearsal. Guard it like opening night. Now ask, what supports this block? Coffee, water, closed door, conversation to make sure the room stays closed, headphones, phone in another room, notebook already open. Those aren't productivity hacks, those are stage directions. You're removing unnecessary decisions before your rehearsal begins. You're becoming the stage manager. One of the things I love about stage managers, that they're 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 just extraordinary, man. They eliminate questions before you even ask them. The prop is already on the table. The costume is already hanging backstage. The lights are already programmed. Nobody walks on stage wondering where the chair went. Imagine beginning your workday that way. Oh, God, it would be beautiful. Your notebook is already open. Your research is already waiting. The browser tabs you actually need are ready. The distractions are gone before rehearsal starts. Now your attention gets to build instead of search. You have too much to do with your mind, then spend it on every second of the day. Tetris gaming every second of the day. So let's borrow one tool from project management, risk management. Before every project, we ask, what is most likely to knock us off course? Let's ask the same question about tomorrow. What's the biggest risk? Your phone, meetings, fatigue, scrolling, somebody else's emergency. Okay, good. Now build one solution before the problem arrives. Build it before. Say these excuses are acceptable. This one is not. These are not. These are not built in. So I'm able to say no quickly. But these are excusable. That's planning, not reacting. Okay, here's another game. We're calling this one the director's chair. At the end of every day, pretend you're directing tomorrow. Walk through it in your imagination. Watch yourself wake up, walk into your office, begin the work. Where do you hesitate? Where do you get distracted? Where do you wander? Okay, congratulations. You just found tomorrow's blocking notes. It's that easy. Today's rehearsal isn't about becoming more disciplined necessarily. It's about making tomorrow easier to perform than today was. Actors don't rely on memory. They don't rely completely on by rote them in their bathtub sitting memorizing the words. They have to rehearse. They rely on rehearsal because of the movement, the behavior, the other actors. Project managers don't rely on hope. They rely on preparation and stakeholders. You deserve the same advantage. Tomorrow, we stop arranging the stage. Tomorrow's build day. So that's why we're building systems today. That's where repetition becomes evidence. So we build it today. We structure it today. Okay, let's leave rehearsal. This blocking is finished. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be. Now the audience walks in. Here's something I think we underestimate. People experience our systems. They don't experience our intentions. I mean, think about your favorite restaurant. You probably never walked into the kitchen necessarily, but you experienced the timing. The food arrived. The drinks showed up. The table got cleared. Everything else felt effortless. Behind that effortless experience, though, somebody built a very intentional system. And with stakeholders, with a team of people. So families, they're exactly the same. Some houses feel really calm. Some feel really rushed. And that's okay. Some feel playful. Some feel chaotic. You can usually feel it within 30 seconds of walking through the front door. It's like you can just feel the vibes. Nobody hands you a family mission statement saying, here's how we run this place. The systems introduce themselves. They become visible. Dinner happens a certain way. People greet each other a certain way. Somebody always forgets where they left their keys. Every family has choreography. Businesses do this too. Walk into a business where nobody knows who's responsible for what. Phones are ringing, customers are waiting. People ask who's doing what. This is exhausting. Now walk into a business where everyone knows their place, their role. The experience changes immediately. The work doesn't necessarily become easier, the friction disappears. One of my favorite things to watch is really good coffee shop during a morning rush. Nobody looks panicked. One person is steaming milk, another's taking orders, another's calling names. another's cleaning, they're dancing, not because they're dancers, they're just because everybody understands the choreography. That's blocking. That's systems. That's intention becoming visible. All right, here's a game. We're calling this one the Lost Tourist. Walk into your own office or your workspace or your garage and pretend you've never been there before. Just like you're a tourist. Like you've got one question. What happens here? What's this room all about? Could you find the important thing? Could they understand what you're trying to build? If somebody else walked into your workspace, would they think, I've entered an archaeological dig sponsored by Post-it notes here. We've all had that office. Okay. One of the things I love about stage managers is that they ask incredibly practical questions. Where does this prop live? Who moves this chair? What happens if somebody gets sick? Nobody thinks those questions are glamorous. No. Everybody appreciates them on opening night. You better believe. Life keeps rewarding those same questions. The more intentional we are with our questions, the better our systems are. Where do your keys live? Where does your notebook live? Where does tomorrow begin? They're small systems, but they make a big impact. Think about tomorrow morning, not the whole day, just the first 20 minutes. Walk through the first 20 minutes in your imagination. Where do you hesitate? Where do you usually get distracted? Where do you start negotiating with yourself? Good. You just found tomorrow's rehearsal notes. Change one thing tonight. Lay the clothes out. Open the notebook. Charge the camera. Put the coffee mug where you will see it. Small adjustments. They're cleaner entrances. Cleaner entrances and exits. I love project management. People imagine it's all spreadsheets. It's the choreography. It's helping dozens of moving pieces arrive at the place at roughly the time with enough clarity that people can do their best work, that the deliverables are met, and the customer is happy. That sounds a lot like directing to me. I mean, this week, don't judge your week by how busy it feels. Judge it by how smoothly the important things happen. Smooth isn't boring. Smooth means the system is carrying part of the weight. Ugh, thank God. That's flow. That is creating the flow. That's setting up the slip and slide. That's what we're building. All right, tomorrow we stop talking about the week. We get our hands actually dirty. Every system eventually exists for one reason, to build something worth sharing. So that's where we're headed next. So yesterday we chose one objective. Today we built a week around it. That's an important distinction. We didn't build a better calendar. We just built protection. Because here's what I know about Monday morning. Monday morning is really optimistic. Wednesday afternoon has questions. Friday is negotiating. I couldn't get it because, that's normal. But the goal was never to become somebody who never gets distracted. The goal is becoming somebody who can find their way back. So one of the biggest lessons project management ever taught me is that every project has constraints. Time, money, people, energy. Those aren't problems. They're simply the conditions we're building inside. Life works exactly the same way. Nobody gets unlimited intention. Nobody gets unlimited attention. Nobody gets unlimited energy. Nobody gets unlimited hours. So we make decisions. Good systems help us make fewer of them. One thing I started doing years ago completely changed my weeks. I stopped asking, what do I have to do tomorrow? I started asking, what deserves my best energy tomorrow? That's a different question. That's a different calendar. Some work deserves my sharpest thinking. Some work deserves my leftovers. Legit. Those are not the same. If I accidentally reverse them, I usually feel it by Thursday. Legit. Here's something that makes me laugh. We Have you ever spent 20 minutes looking for your keys while you're holding your keys? Or your glasses, while they're on your head? Our brains are remarkable. They're also wonderfully ridiculous. That's one reason I love systems. The system quietly smiles and says, let's give your future you a hand. Same hook, same place, same notebook, same charging cable, same Sunday review, not because you're becoming boring, because your brain has more interesting work to do than searching for the scissors again. God, every time. One of my favorite stage managers used to say, if it's important, give it a home. That's nice. Props have homes, costumes have homes, people have entrances, scenes have places. Everything belongs somewhere. I've started asking that question in my own life. Where does this belong? Where does my workout belong? Where does deep work belong? Where does recovery belong? Where does my adventure belong? If everything belongs everywhere, nothing really belongs anywhere. Tomorrow morning, before you begin, look at your calendar. Ask yourself 3 questions. What's the objective? What block protects it? What's most likely to interrupt it? Now solve one interruption before it happens. That's it. You're rehearsing the week before the week rehearses you. That's all. Every Sunday, I want you to have a production meeting with yourself, not a planning marathon, 10 quiet minutes. Read your objective. Look at the week. Protect the important rehearsals first. Everything gets scheduled afterward. That's exactly how productions are built. Opening night gets protected first. The rest of the logistics support it. So here's something I know and I hope stays with you. Systems do not replace intention, they protect it. Calendars don't create purpose, they create space for purpose to show up. The planner isn't the hero. You are the hero. The planner is simply a very reliable stage manager. Okay, here's this week's casting call. I'm looking for someone willing to become the architect of the week. Somebody who understands that great weeks don't happen accidentally. They're blocked. They're rehearsed. They're protected. They're adjusted. 1 week at a time. 1 production at a time. And 1 intention at a time. Tomorrow we stop planning. We build. We collect evidence. We make mistakes. We adjust. We leave with something tangible in our hands. Because ideas are wonderful. But evidence changes people. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. Before you go, I want to ask you one question. What competency are you building today? Because tomorrow is not built on wishes. It is built on what you choose to repeat today. Increase the signal. Reduce the noise. And create a safe rehearsal space for the life you're building. If this episode helped, please follow along, join me again next time, and let a bitch know how you're feeling. Engage with me because I want something to audit on our next Friday's Q&A. Remember, extraordinary lives are not found. they're built. I'll see you right here next time on Built for It.